Well, the IDF has released drone footage which appears to show Hamas staging a hostage body discovery. And a warning before we show this, the pictures are distressing. But as you can see on your screen in a minute, here you go, the terrorists bring out a hostage body from an apartment, place it in a dirt pit and bury it. And then moments later, Hamas calls the Red Cross. Now, this isn't a hostage body, it's really hostage remains. Let's bring in, while you can keep looking at the vision, but let's bring in now former Israeli government spokesman Eylon Levy. Eylon, this is incredibly emotionally distressing for the mother of Afir Safati, who had already buried her son.
Shari, what can I say? I thought we'd seen the worst of Hamas's body snatchers when they paraded the coffins of dead babies and returned them with the wrong labels and a woman who wasn't even their mother. Let's remember the shocking dead hostage parades back in the last hostage release. But this really is psychopath behavior on a different level. To take the remains of a hostage, body parts really, to throw them in the ground, cover them with dirt, and then dig them back up just so the Red Cross can be called over to see is just like something from a psychopath horror movie behavior. And it's a reminder that Israel is dealing with some really sick and twisted individuals in Hamas. Hamas will do literally anything to avoid moving on to phase 2 of the ceasefire, which will see Gaza demilitarized and Hamas removed from power. They're down to playing sick stunts with body parts so that they can continue torturing the families and continue holding onto those bodies of hostages they murdered as insurance so that they don't have to end this war, the war the whole world says needs to end for good.
Indeed. There has been positive signs from Qatar, at least. We've heard public statements. They're saying that Hamas does need to give up control of Gaza. Do you find this encouraging, what they're saying publicly?
Hamas is supported by Qatar and Turkey. They are its main state sponsors. It was only forced to release the living hostages when, after 2 years of supporting Hamas in this war, those countries told it under American pressure that the game is up and they need to free the hostages. They need to put pressure on Hamas now. Turkey and Qatar must make it clear to Hamas that if they do not lay down their arms and relinquish control of Gaza, they are on their own. Qatar and Turkey won't support them anymore. Not diplomatically, not through the propaganda channels they have been running, not through economic support. Hamas must be completely isolated. It didn't help when Western countries like Australia and the UK gave Hamas a boost by rewarding October 7th with recognition of a Palestinian state. Hamas needs to be totally isolated. And that means these countries really need to pull their weight and say, you know what? It was a mistake for us to back Hamas in 2 years of this war. You've brought the Gaza Strip to destruction. We need to rebuild. We need to move on. You have to go.
And you know, your point about Qatar, that's the only reason Hamas did release those 20 living hostages, because of the pressure Trump and the international community brought to bear on Qatar. That could have happened, that international pressure, much earlier, but instead they were pressuring Israel.
Exactly. The pressure from day one of the war should have been on Hamas's state sponsors, its patrons, to force it to release the hostages. Instead, Qatar was treated as a neutral mediator. Qatar condemned Israel for the October 7th massacre on October 7th. It was pushing for a ransom that would have left Hamas in power. It operated Al Jazeera to spread toxic propaganda in support of Hamas. It was never a neutral mediator. It was Hamas's patron. It should have been pressured from the beginning. Unfortunately, I think Qatar has too many foreign media channels and politicians in the back of its pocket with a lot of the oil money they've spent buying influence in the West. But that's where the pressure needs to be now. Qatar, the tip of the spear of the Muslim Brotherhood in the Middle East, needs to be pressured to abandon Hamas so that Hamas leaves power and lets everyone move on.
Well said, Eylon Levy. Always love having you on the show. Thank you so much.